everyone, it's Lisa and Luna from Don't Run with Scissors, back with another Technique Tuesday. Today I'm going to be playing with metal leaf, metal flakes. It all depends on what you call it or what it's known as. This stuff adheres to most objects with the correct adhesive, and they come in a variety of colors and shapes, and we're going to go over that right now. In my hand I actually have copper metal leaf, and this is more like a sheet of the metal. So if we open that up, what you'll see here is they have comes in a little book with great little pages here, and the copper is in between each of these sheets. So we will play with that. It's very delicate and it does stick to everything. So you have to have a little bit of patience because this stuff is super crazy sticky, staticky. Good to have a dryer sheet on hand. But with the appropriate stuff, it'll stick to paper, ceramic, metal. This says plaster of Paris. You can use it in stenciling, plastics. You can put it on your picture frames. It can pretty much go anywhere. They also come in flakes, and this right here is a combo color of copper, gold, and silver. So you can get these at Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, any of those places. I know this one came from Michael's. It was a clearance for like $1, so it was gold flake. And this is the paper that I just showed you, but all torn up into little pieces. And a lot of companies will make a blend. So this is a copper, silver, gold blend. There are places like paperwishes.com where you can get red flake, blue flake, green flake. So you can do all sorts of various techniques with those. So what you need to do to adhere it is use an adhesive of some sort. Some people will use a stamp and stick glue pad. So essentially you'll take a stamp, put it in the glue pad, and stamp on the paper. So you're just trying to get the paper sticky for it to adhere to. Some people will use Versamark ink. Some people will use the embossing glitter that turns into a glue when you heat set it. But right now the primary tool on the market for it is called flitterglu, and I did get mine on Amazon, but you can also get it, I know paperwishes.com had it for a little while, so you can go there. So essentially all you need to do is take the glue, and I have my Tim Holtz sponge here, and just put some glue in here and turn it into a stamp, or an ink pad, not a stamp pad. Okay. I was just playing, so my stamps were in water. It's best to use the rubber stamps, not necessarily the acrylics, because of what the glue really does stick to everything. So you do need to make sure that you get your stamps cleaned pretty quickly after using this stuff. So I'm just pulling mine out of the water and wiping it off so it's dry. Okay. So we're clean here. And now I have my ink tool all set. I'm going to go right over this and put my glue on my stamp. Okay, and we'll go direct to paper. And you should hear it pucker on the way up. Don't leave your stamp on too long. It will tear your paper on the way up. Just a word of advice for somebody who found out the hard way. And I have my stamp here that I'm going to do. I wanted to do a Father's Day card. And there you go. So I have my stamps over in the water. We're not using that. Move this aside. Now is where you can see how staticky this stuff gets. I do have a dryer sheet here to help me a little bit. Now if you had the sheet, you could lie the sheet right down, and that's what we're going to do on the next image. But on these two images, I'm just going to put the flake over the area of where I stamped it. Try not to sneeze, try not to breathe. And you just tap it into place. I found it very helpful to have an extra piece of paper lying around to come over the top and swirl that in. And you'll see that it's sticking to, look at that piece, it's gorgeous, it's got red and purple in it. So you'll see where the flakes are all adhered to. So you can try to shake it off. And that's the mess you get. But what they also sell is what they call scoochy foam. You can also use a brush, Don't be afraid of using scoochy foam. And all this is going to do is you just kind of rub over the top of it, and it's going to take off that excess paper. And all that would be left is your image. You don't need to rub hard. It's really easy. So I'm going to try to get some of this back on this paper here. Like I said, this will make a mess. Don't breathe. No sudden movements. Let's see if we can get this in a better area. And then you can finish up cleaning. Like I said, you can use a brush. To clean this off, but the scoochy foam is the most popular. And there you go. You have your image. I'm just going to go over it with a dryer sheet real quick just to see if I can pick up anything else. You may have some residual places where you may not have wanted the flake. You can see here, if you take an X-Acto knife, that will scratch off. You may not want to listen to it, but it will come right off. And you'll be in a nice and clean area. So you can take your time and go through that again. So there you have it. You have some beautiful little metal flake. They really pop, and when you put a nice background on it and make it turn into a card, add some ribbon, it's just so pretty. So let's show you the other technique real quick. Let me just clean up this flake as best I can. Get rid of this. Like I said, it'll stick to anything. Okay. All right. So let's put that aside. Cover it up. We didn't sneeze. That's good. And the dryer sheet will help to destaticize whatever else you got going on around you. Okay. So the next one I want to do is this big flower here. And I'm going to add a little bit more glue, just to, I'm not sure how quickly, if it dried out or not here. So just a little bit more. And what I do usually after I do this is I baby wipe my stamps, and then I dunk them in the water until I have time to really clean. So I'm just going to go over this again. So pretty. And you can do this on any paper. It doesn't have to be white cardstock. So we're going to come in, I'm going to stamp my flower. And this is where I said be careful, because it will take your paper with you if you're not careful. This one clearly has that issue. So be careful with it. I did get a small piece, but that's okay. We'll work with it. And what I'm going to do now is use the sheet that I showed you earlier. And you just put that on over your image. Try to cover it as best you can. I like the flake because you don't make such a mess. Let's see here. I know there's a hole right there. And what I do have here is one of those sticker sheets that your stamps come on, or the adhesive sheet, and you can go right over that, and you can take a bone folder and just go over it. So what this is doing is it's pushing it down into that ink. You can see there's a small piece there that missed the adhesive on. We can go back and fix that if we want. So you get that all scored down in there. And it might just come up with it, but I'm going to go over this one piece that I just found here. And then when you pull that up, come back in with your scoochy foam, and you can go and clean up the area. And now this essentially just turns into the gold flakes. So you could put that into a gold flake carrier of some sort if you want. Clean that up. And there you go. It's a very pretty flower, and you can go in and do all sorts of things to it, colored pencil it. The flake will hold the markers. It'll dye it if you go and use that, so all depends on how you want to add to this or not. But that is how to use the metal flake or the metal leaf. I hope you enjoyed and learned something today, and I hope you have some fun if you bump into this stuff at your craft store. So sometimes this stuff's on sale and you just never know how or when, but don't be afraid to pick it up. It's a great tool. It adds a lot of pop to your cards. You can use it for backgrounds. That's kind of fun too.